Cameraman. Today is Sunday, February 5th, 2017, and I see that Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger are at it again with the HI1A stereo A images and the objects that we're seeing. So let's have a listen to the latest hilarious episode from WSO Steiger-Olson, February 4, huge energy beam detected on US satellites.
Hi everybody, it is Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger. Hi Wayne.
How you doing, Steve?
Yeah.
What you got up here, Steve?
Well, check this out. We've been keeping an eye on these two objects, and people are saying they're everything from, Regulus to who knows what, but they're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one. People are saying they're everything from, Regulus to who knows what, but they're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one.
Well, that's amazing, because I'm pretty sure that in my last video about these two objects, we clearly identified them as being Algebra and Regulus. But just to be sure, let's double check on the stereo website and see if we can positively identify these objects again. This image is from Stereo Ahead HI1 on January 26, 2017 at 5:29 UTC. Here is the same image from January 26, 2017 at 5:29 UTC. Now I've already got this lined up in Starry Night, and let's flick backwards and forwards and compare the background stars for the same date and time. As you can see, January 26, 2017 at 5:29 UTC from Stereo A, and I would say that that is a positive match, wouldn't you? We can see all of the other background stars are in exactly the same position. We can see that the Earth is there, we can see Regulus here, and we can see Algebra here. There it is, Algebra, Regulus, the Earth, and all of these other stars are a perfect match.
They're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one.
I'm not sure what sort of scopes Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger are looking at, but clearly they're not looking at the right information.
But so we're watching these objects go by, and so we've been keeping our eye on the Stereo Ahead HI1 camera, which is pointed at Earth, by the way. And we think that, Venus is somewhere back here. I mean, it's pretty tight in with us, but what is this big ejection of, it's just a huge ejection.
Indeed, what could possibly be causing this huge ray of light we see in the Stereo Ahead image? Well, once again, let's check the original image on the Stereo website. Here it is again, 3rd of February 2017 at 17:18:01, which is the same date that we have here. And let's check the view in Starry Night again and compare to the background stars. Now, it's not so clear in this image. We're not seeing so many stars here, but we can still pick out Algebra here. Regulus is hidden behind this flare. Here is the Earth, and in particular you can see these three stars here when I flick backwards and forwards. So you can see that I've got that lined up correctly. And the interesting thing is, where do we see Venus? Just out to the right here. So Venus is coming into view, and you'll notice with the data out on the left hand side there, second line up from the bottom, it says apparent magnitude minus 4.15. That is the brightness of Venus. Now, the greater the negative number, the brighter the object is. If we go over to the Earth for comparison, we see that the number is minus 2.53. So, with minus 4.15 is actually brighter than a minus 2.53. Venus is incredibly bright. This is why people are commenting about it in the evening sky, because it is the brightest star-like object in the sky. Jupiter is the next brightest, and then you would have Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. So yes, Venus is very bright, and it is causing this flare as it comes into the field of view of the Stereo Ahead HI1 camera. Now, how can I say that? Well, obviously this has probably happened before. Last time Venus was coming into view on the Stereo Ahead HI1 camera. So let's test that hypothesis and see if it's true. So I've checked back in Starry Night to see when Venus last came round in its orbit. I've worked backwards, and just to make things easier, I'm going to turn on the orbit line for Venus so we can see what's going on. Of course, Venus is orbiting the Sun. It's the second planet out from the Sun after Mercury, and I've set this to July 17th, 2016 as a starting point at 9 minutes past 0 UTC. And let's run this forward. I've got this set to 1 hour increments, and we'll run this forward and see where Venus heads. So it's going to head off to the right here. and then I'm going to compare this in the stereo ahead HI1 imagery to see what result we get as Venus heads across our field of view. So here we are on July 17th, 2016 at 9 minutes past 0000 hours UTC, and let's run this forward, and in just a little while, up in the top left hand, there's that great big flare. This is from Venus, which is just coming into the field of view, and we get some lovely big flares as it crosses our field of view, and it just gets more and more spectacular. We've even got this big lens flare down the bottom. Now, I did say that Venus was the brightest star-like object in the sky. Yes, it is extremely bright. And this is interesting too for all those people that are saying that Venus is too bright this time round. Well, you can see just how bright Venus is from this imagery back in 2016, July 2016. So once again, we've got the Earth here, and we've got this lovely big lens flare coming off Venus as it crosses the sky. And no doubt people were saying that this was Nibiru at the bottom of the screen or something ridiculous like that. It's funny how Nibiru is transparent, isn't it? We can see the stars through it. Look at this lovely big flare that's coming off there. We've got all sorts of reflections happening within the camera housing here, and lens flares on the actual lens of the camera. And as Venus heads into that corner, nice CME there, we can see this intense flaring. Now, I'll let this run on because even when Venus goes out of the field of view, it has this sort of last gasp flare up as the light bounces around inside the camera. And here it comes. Big flare up in the corner there from Venus as it comes round on its orbit. So that's up to the 4th of August. I'll just stop that there. 5th of August now. We'll go back to Starry Night and bring that back to the 5th of August. And you can see Venus's position out there on its orbit. So that other bright object in our field of view is actually Mercury. So yes, this has happened before and it will happen again. And surely you'd think that if these two clowns, Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger, were going to make videos informing the world about these great beams of light and strange objects that can't be identified, that they would at least invest some of that money that they've been raking in from their videos on some decent astronomy software, wouldn't you? It's just so easy to do when you've got the right tools and you actually know what you're doing, which clearly these guys don't.
You know, people are saying that it's a lens flare, but I'm not so sure. People are saying they're everything from, you know, Regulus to who knows what, but they're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one.
Thank you for visiting my channel. Please be sure to subscribe. For further discussion, please check out my Facebook discussion page, Voices of Reason to Explain X, or VORTEX. You'll find a link in the description area. If you'd like to support my work, you'll find a PayPal link on the About tab of my channel. Your support will be most appreciated. Thank you for watching. Hello YouTube, this is Dazza the Cameraman. Today is Sunday, February 5th, 2017, and I see that Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger are at it again with the HI1A stereo A images and the objects that we're seeing. So let's have a listen to the latest hilarious episode from WSO Steiger-Olson, February 4, huge energy beam detected on US satellites.
Hi everybody, it is Steve Olson and Wayne Steiger. Hi Wayne.
How you doing, Steve?
Yeah.
What you got up here, Steve?
Well, check this out. We've been keeping an eye on these two objects, and people are saying they're everything from, you know, Regulus to who knows what, but they're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one. People are saying they're everything from, you know, Regulus to who knows what, but they're not anything we know of on our scopes, let alone this one.
Well, that's amazing, because I'm pretty sure that in my last video about these two objects, we clearly identified them as being Algebra and Regulus. But just to be sure, let's double check on the stereo website and see if we can positively identify these objects again. This image is from Stereo Ahead HI1 on January 26, 2017.